Well, hello again, everybody. Long time no see, and welcome back to the Cruise in Review podcast. I'm Blake.
And I'm Audrey.
It is so good to have you with us here again, and we do apologize for our prolonged absence here, and we do feel like we owe you an explanation. We do not want this to be something where it is unreliable. We do not want this to be something where we tell you we're going to be back next week and we're not. We do not want to be something where we promise coverage and we do not give it to you. But unfortunately, we told you we were going to take our cruise on board Allure of the Seas at the end of April, and we did do that. However, shortly before that trip and in between podcast taping episodes, Audrey's mother unfortunately did pass away after a prolonged bout with ovarian cancer. It was sudden, and it was not an easy experience or an easy time. We did end up taking that cruise, much to the urging of family, but it's not been an easy last few months around the Cruise in Review house.
No, it has not. And, you know, we kind of talked, you know, that I don't know if there's many things that would make us happy again, make us smile again, you know, laugh. Because, I mean, my mom, most of you probably don't know her, but my mom was such a spirit, such a joy to be around. She livened up the party. I mean, golly, so we really did lose somebody very special in our family, but I tell you, I'm so glad we went on that trip, and I know we're going to talk about it and we're going to highlight it because there's not many things that I think would make us smile again, but golly, a cruise ship will, you know. And we were very thankful that family pushed us to go, because you never know if it's okay, if it's a right timing, you know, whatever it may be. But we were looking so forward to that trip. And unfortunately, I had to turn 30 years old. So, you know, and it sucked a little less, you know, because we were on a cruise ship. So I'm glad we went. I look forward to getting to talk about that. We had a great time. And I appreciate everybody that reached out, that does follow our page and follow our podcast, because it really meant a lot. And we appreciate you bearing with us. And like Blake said, I mean, this is not something we plan on doing, taking long pauses between podcasts.
No, and again, fortunately, we've never had to travel in a situation like that before, so we did not know how that was going to be. And we've always said that, you know, travel and everything is kind of the silver bullet, and just for a little bit, we kind of got to get back to where the world made a little bit of sense to us, you know.
Yeah.
And, we're never going to replace what we lost, but we will move forward. She was a fun person, and we will move forward in the spirit of fun, and so will our podcast. So just felt like we owed you an explanation. This is a fun podcast. So if this is your first time, I assure you we don't do this every time, and I hope we don't ever have to do it again. But we do feel like we owe you an explanation about our prolonged absence. So where we left off was we were running through our 7-night Southern Caribbean cruise, which at this point now took back in February. Our plan was to have that finished. We were going to go on our cruise at the end of April. We did collect some content while we were there, so there will be upcoming content. We went to a little city in Mahahual in Mexico off of the Puerto Costa Maya.
Yes.
Had a wonderful time in Cozumel, visited a beautiful beach in Honduras, and of course got a lot of video around the Allure of the Seas. But right now we're covering 7-night Southern Caribbean on board Voyager of the Seas, and where we made it to was, I believe, is day number 6, and that was Barbados, which is one of our favorite destinations in the entire Caribbean.
I think I could talk about Barbados for probably many podcasts, because I love everything about that little place. I love the food, the beach, the people. I mean, you can't beat it. That's one of the prettiest beaches I've ever been to, and I hope you're going to get to see some content here, and you think it's as pretty as the pictures, because golly, it is.
So right after cruising resumed from COVID, we took our first cruise back from COVID, and it was on Grandeur of the Seas, and the departure port was actually Barbados. So we spent 3 nights in Barbados in an Airbnb, just living in Barbados. No air conditioning. It wasn't like the air went out. There was just no air conditioning.
The windows open.
The windows did open. That was your air conditioning.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of experience with Barbados. It is a place that I would absolutely visit as a standalone vacation if you are not a cruiser. It is a place that I encourage you to go and experience the authenticity of this beautiful island. Very friendly people, extremely friendly people.
Yes.
I never felt unsafe. I never felt like I was unwelcomed, and we did. We stayed at a Airbnb in Hastings, in Christchurch. I mean, it was. I mean, it's where the locals go.
Yeah.
And we ate where they ate. We shopped where they shopped. We cooked breakfast in the condo. We had no air conditioning. We had really no hot water. Not that everywhere's like that. You can stay in a Hilton.
Yeah.
We almost did that.
Yeah.
But we decided to go with what was the cheap route. And it just worked out being the better route, in my opinion.
Yeah. And we had a group. We had, 2 other people with us. And so when you do have a group, it is more fun. It's a little cheaper, but golly, I am so glad that we stayed in the Airbnb because we felt like we really experienced Barbados. You can stay in the fancy hotels like we have in America, and you can do all but you're you're in Barbados. You got to experience Barbados. And I felt like we really did that. Staying in the Airbnb, the lady that owned that Airbnb was so friendly. There was a beach right across the road. There was a little market. I mean, everything was real handy, and you could walk to it.
Yeah, and so we've got a lot of experience there. That was on our previous trip, our first cruise back from COVID on board Grandeur of the Seas. You can actually view the review of that trip on CruiseNReview.com under reviews. This most recent trip, we visited as a port of call. So we were there what was kind of a short port day. It was 7 to about 3 o'clock. We booked an excursion because we were concerned about the short time. So we booked an excursion to a beach that we found, which was one of our favorite beaches in the land. It is not my favorite, but it's in my top 3 or 4. And it is Carlisle Bay Beach.
Yeah.
In Barbados.
And it's probably my favorite just because I love that you can see the cruise ship. I think I've said that before. I love being able to be on the beach and see the cruise ship. And then also, it is a bay, so the waters are real calm. And when you're as short as I am, that it's much easier for me to stand up and have a cold drink and hang out. But the water, oh my gosh, it looks like a swimming pool. Like, to me, it is so pretty. And again, the people are so friendly on that beach. And I don't really consider it a crowded beach because it's so big. I feel like that it's really long. It's wide. I mean, it's if you're a beach sitter, a beach chair sitter, we talk about those people. I feel like that you could do that if you wanted to. It's not extremely crowded. I'm not going to say it's not. There are people there. It's not a private beach, but it's gorgeous.
So we did an excursion there. Okay, we knew where we wanted to go. But it was a short day. Normally, when we know where we want to go, we take a taxi there. We want to be on our own schedule. We don't like standing in the lines. We don't like being crowded onto a small bus, which is customary in the Caribbean. We normally will go straight to where we want to go. This time, the short port call, I was a little worried that the excursion ran till about noon. And we felt like, I think all aboard was 3 or 3:30. So we felt like maximizing our time, not being worried about, missing the ship or anything like that. We felt like the best case scenario was going to be for us to take the ship tour. Yeah. I was really incorrect. So what we did, we got on the bus, everything went fine. They took us out there, got us a beach chair at Carlisle Bay. And probably about 3 hours into it, it was time to go. And we were in no mood to leave.
No, absolutely not. I mean, again, my favorite place. So I definitely wasn't team let's go back to the ship at noon. And we realized that it was going to be pretty easy to catch a taxi. And we did check on that to make sure. And there were bars, there were places you could get food. I mean, it was just everything was just easy access. And I think the place we were at was called Harbor Lights. And I think for an extra $5, I believe it was, we got to keep our deck chairs too. All day long, and I mean, golly, enough said.
Well, we went and told the guide, said, "Hey, we're not going to go back." We checked with the Harbor Lights staff to make sure there were going to be plenty of taxis that we would get a ride back. They assured us that there were. They were happy to have us, and we got we extended our excursion by an extra 2 hours at maybe no cost. What was the taxi ride? $10.
Yeah.
So for $15 if you count the additional fee.
Yeah.
We stayed an extra 2 hours.
Yeah.
I will sign up for that deal any day of the week. And again, we don't edit our video as far as any color correction, nothing. The video you see on this beach is real. It is, and it's like we've been there 3 times now, and it's looked like that every time.
Yes.
Sometimes you go back, and you're like, "This is pretty as I thought," or if it's cloudy, this beach is pretty no matter what.
Yeah.
The water is calm. It is perfect. There is food, and again, we recommend going to this Harbor Lights. They don't pay us for this. Take a taxi there. Go out, get a taxi. They're right outside the port. Follow the signs for the taxis. Go there. Allow yourself 30 to 45 minutes before ship all aboard, and stay there all day. Eat, drink, enjoy yourself. It's safe. Your valuables are safe. This is a beautiful beach in a beautiful country with beautiful people, and it is. I think about it all the time.
Yeah, me too. Like if there's one place you said, we're going tomorrow, where do you want to go? Barbados is definitely my answer, and I'm going to Harbor Lights. And I will say too, if you have kids, if you're on a cruise and you brought your kids along, it's completely safe to take your kids there too. They have, they do have some like you want to call them yard games, but you're on the beach, so you could call them sand games. But they have lots of games you could play with the kids. They also have snorkeling tours. We did not do this, but they had snorkeling tours, a sea turtle adventure, I believe. Those are all extra costs outside your ticket to get in, but something good for the kids. And like I did say earlier, they have tons of food available, drink options available. I mean, it's a cool place for sure.
And when you're looking for that relaxed beach day, this is it. Yeah. So don't miss Carlisle Bay. Your first time to Barbados, if you're a beach person, don't miss Carlisle Bay. If you go there to stay, as we did, there is a bus system that runs up and down the beach road, and it's just $5 a person. They just run up and down, and if you're walking down the sidewalk, they'll just stop and ask if you want to ride, and they blow the horn. The horns are very distinct. They also blow the horns very late into the night if you're staying there and the windows are open because there's no air conditioning. But they're easy. You just jump in. They drive really fast, and the buses are really crowded, but it's very cheap, and it runs up and down that road. There's places to get lunch up and down that road, and again, they stop you along the beaches along that road. Carlisle Bay is one of those. So if you hop on it, again, we were staying in Hastings, which really was 5-10 minutes down the road, probably 2 or 3 miles. Could have walked it, didn't want to. So we jumped in, got a ride. They took us down the road. We paid the money. We jumped out. There was a lot more to it than that. At one point, the keys to the condo flew off the keychain and went into the trunk. Audrey had to climb underneath there and get them. The music, I felt like I was on the night bus out of Harry Potter.
That is the best way to explain that. Like seriously, and I hope you are fellow Harry Potter fans and you understand that, because it was a hot mess for maybe 2 minutes. It didn't take us long to get to Carlisle Bay, but it was a hot mess. And all I'm saying is, if you do find yourself in Barbados, whether you're staying there or on a cruise, take a taxi ride. It could be fun. You could have a story like ours. And the
staff, they're so friendly. Yeah. They really are. I mean, but Caribbean nations don't have the best reputation of driving, and these people fit the bill. They really did. But they're so friendly, and if you don't know what you're doing, just ask somebody. And we were there for the previous trip, kind of in the height of COVID. They were still very concerned about COVID. There were a lot of mask laws. There were a lot of things like that. Now, this most recent cruise, all that's over with. Yeah. If you go right now, none of that is happening. But the previous trip, they were still very friendly. Yeah. If you didn't have your mask on somewhere you should, they would very politely remind you, hey, please place your mask on. And as long as you didn't act goofy, which that's another discussion for another day, they were fine. There was no, they do have certain laws there you should keep in mind. Camouflage is not permitted. Yes. It's against the law to wear camouflage. I also found out that you cannot enter the port area topless. And that means dudes included. They had to circle the whole. I was just in the back vibing, listening to Caribbean music with my shirt off, and we had to circle around twice while I fought to put my wet shirt on.
They're like, Mon, you gotta put your shirt on,
Mon. Put your shirt on, Mon. And I'm like, so keep that in mind too. Yeah. Don't try to enter the port topless, men or women. Save that for St. Martin.
Something else I want to talk about, when we first went to Barbados, and most cruise lines still offer this, is the beach hop island style.
Yes, if you're looking for an excursion and you're uncomfortable with I know some people are going to listen to this and go, we're too scared, we don't want to take a taxi. Yeah. That's okay. Beach Hop Island style.
Yes. So this is an open air bus that you come out to, you know, depending on how long you're there. When we did this, it was the first time we had been to Barbados. Didn't really know which beach we wanted to go to. So we did the beach hop, which means we went to 3 different beaches. I think we were there at each stop maybe 45 minutes, maybe a little longer.
It's about 45 minutes to an hour each place.
Yeah, depending on which one. But this guy, we might have just got lucky. I'm assuming they're all like this, but who knows? But we got out there, it was like 8 a.m., I believe, and he was ready to go. They had this this bus that was painted all different colors.
Open air.
Yeah, open air. And he was handing out rum punches at 8 a.m., saying, ready to go. And so we get on this bus, rum punch in hand, and we take off. And he is playing island music. He's related to everyone on the island of Barbados.
Yep, tooting the horn and waving at everybody. And
we go to 3 different beaches, one of them being Carlisle Bay, which is how we kind of found
Carlisle Bay.
Yes. They take you by, Mariana is from the island of Barbados, and so they take you by her house. They take you we kind of hit some highlights of the culture of Barbados, but then also go see these beautiful beaches. And that was as far as shore excursions go with the cruise line, number 1, my favorite thing we've ever done. So I wanted to mention that if you do go to Barbados on a cruise and you're looking for a shore excursion, because I noticed they offered that this last cruise we went on, is the beach hop island style in Barbados. Remember that.
Yes, great excursion. And that's again, we mentioned when we go on these cruises, what we love to do is we love to go and the first time we go somewhere, do an excursion with the ship.
Yeah.
And see it and just kind of get the feel and the lay of the land. And then the next time we come back, we may find something that we want to do. We found Carlisle Bay, and we didn't realize we would end up back there staying there for 3 or 4 days.
Yeah.
We went to Carlisle Bay. We did all these things. But again, a couple of, questions you might have. Again, how much did the taxi ride cost to Carlisle Bay from the port? It cost us to get back about $5 a person. So it was $10 for Audrey and I. Not much. It took about 10 minutes to get there. When we stayed there, we took the bus system to and from where we needed to go, or we walked. And again, we walked at night. We walked it's a safe place.
Yeah.
It's safer than where you're from. I would guarantee the famous words from the bellman at the hotel in Aruba. It's safer than where you're from, man.
Yeah.
So, but it is, if you walk around the streets of any city in America, you should feel safe around the main areas of Barbados. So wonderful place. You can fly there. We did a 1 connection flight. It was a little pricey if you want to go down there, but there are Hilton hotels. You don't have to do the Airbnb with no air. You don't have to do that.
No.
There's a lot of hotels there, but great food, great people, and you get to visit some beautiful sites. There's actually a mountainous area. Barbados is pretty flat on the whole. There's some mountainous areas. We took a tour before we got on the ship. It's just a really, really, really neat place with very down to earth people.
Yes.
That are very friendly. And again, though, Carlisle Bay, if you were to rate my top beaches consistently, it's going to be near the top every single time.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can't beat it. Whether it's cloudy, whether it's sunny, whether it even rained a little bit when we were here this last time in February, still pretty. And it's one of my favorite for sure. Just like Blake said, Barbados as a whole. When you talk about the Caribbean, what's my favorite place in the Caribbean? Barbados.
So this was day 6 of our Southern Caribbean cruise on board Voyager of the Seas. Had to stop every single day. No sea days. So if you're one of these people like, I think I'd get bored on a sea day, which I get. Golly. We are going to do an episode of just stupid stuff people say to us. But I'm sorry if you've said that to me, but it doesn't make any sense. And if you've never been on a cruise, you don't understand. Once you do, you will feel goofy that you said it. That is confirmed from people who have said it and then gone on cruises. But this had no sea days. So if you're really interested in the beauty of the Caribbean, we've talked about this a lot. Southern Caribbean's for you. Stop every day, minimal sea days. We left out of San Juan, Puerto Rico. We went to St. Thomas. We went to St. Martin. We went to St. Croix. We went to St. Lucia, Barbados. And then in our next episode of our podcast, we will talk about St. Kitts, home of the thieving monkeys who have been tamed now. They have been controlled, the thieving monkeys, which we'll talk about that. But St. Kitts, another beautiful place, which the first time I went, I hated it. I really didn't. Almost didn't get off the ship the next time.
Yeah.
And then we gave it another try, and we loved it.
Yes.
Thanks to finding a beautiful beach on a Royal Caribbean shore excursion. So that's it, and that'll be day 7. So we will wrap that up, and then where we'll go from here we will move into our most recent cruise, which was the Allure of the Seas.
Yes.
On Audrey's birthday cruise.
Birthday cruise.
And it was on an Oasis class ship, which if you've never seen one of those, we got video from around the ship. We're going to show you all around the ship. We're going to take you to some pretty authentic places that we went to. Tabiana Beach in Honduras. We went really kind of off the beaten path in Costa Maya to Mahahual. And the Crazy Lobster. Crazy Lobster.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Had a great time. Unexpectedly great. Another place I hated.
Yeah.
Costa Maya. Did not want to go there. Didn't want to get off the ship. Just wanted to go in the port and look at useless knickknacks, get in the pool, drink a beer, and get back on the ship. Love it. Mahahual. Book it. So we'll be going through all of that over the next couple of weeks. But first, we will make one last pit stop on the final day of our 7-night Southern Caribbean cruise on board Allure of the Seas.
Yes. It's gonna be awesome. I can't wait to talk about that. Norris Frog came on birthday cruise.
Norris Frog came on birthday cruise.
Yes, and we're going to talk about our adventures in Cozumel, Mexico, too. And that's where we were on my actual birthday. So just wait for all the stories and photos and all the fun things that we did.
We will tell you all about where we went there, all-inclusive resort with Martine.
Yes. Jumping off the dock. Blake lost his wedding band.
We jumped off the pier. I broke my phone.
Lost your wedding band.
Lost my wedding band. But listen, no matter what everybody says happened there, a guy came back on the ship on a wheelchair.
We didn't do that.
Not injured. Not injured.
No.
Alcohol induced.
Yeah.
It was not us.
No.
So we always will have that going for us.
Yes.
Always.
Yeah.
So here's the deal. That's it. That's our plans for the podcast. We will be back next week. Podcast has moved to Thursdays, as you have noticed. It is to hit peak times and peak viewing times, and to also make it a little easier for us to edit and churn it out during the week. So next week is St. Kitts. We booked travel. If any of this sounds good to you, if any of this sounds fun, but you just don't know where to get started, and I'd never book a trip like that, and I'm just going to go on the same cruise over and over and over again from the nearest port, call us.
Yes.
Okay?
Stop doing that.
Yes, you can email us at info@CruiseNReview.com. You can go to our website, CruiseNReview.com, and hit book travel and fill out the form. You can get a hold of Audrey.
Yeah.
And, Audrey at CruiseNReview.com.
Yes.
We can help you book all of this to the point of getting you rides. We know people in some of these ports where we can hook you up with drivers to take you to these places where you don't even got to get your own taxi. We can do all of this.
Yes.
Okay? It's full service, and it doesn't cost you any more money. Our cruise services are completely free. If you book a cruise, we'll get you there. We'll make sure you're taken care of. We will help you book all your tours. We will advise you through the process, and the price will be the same and most likely less than what you could get through the internet or by calling the cruise line yourself. And we love doing it.
Oh, yeah.
And if you want to do one of these, one of the fun ones, we will be really excited.
Yes.
So just keep that in mind. There's our sales pitch for the show. We do book travel. And you know what? If you don't want to book with us, you don't have to. If you just want to talk to, you already had a cruise book and you just want some advice, we'll give you advice this time. Maybe the advice we give you will be good and you'll book with us next time. It's okay. We love talking about travel. That's why if we don't, we were doing the wrong thing.
That's why we started a podcast.
That is why we started a podcast. The booking travel thing came later.
Yeah.
All right. So St. Kitts next week. We are back on a schedule every Thursday, Cruise and Review podcast. And then we look forward to that. Our cruise schedule, us personally, in October.
Yeah.
Princess has provided us with a free cruise that they have provided with us. Thank you so much to Princess Cruise Lines. It's kind of a test. We get to go kind of experience it. So that way we can tell you how to do it. We get elite medallion class with them. It's going to be on the Discovery Princess out of Los Angeles that goes to Cabo, Mazatlan, and Puerto Vallarta.
Yes.
We were looking forward to that. That is in October, so we'll bring you coverage of that. And then the plan, we've not booked this yet, will be to go to the Mediterranean and Europe via Royal Caribbean in May or June of next year, depending on which dates work better.
Now, we're having a little bit of trouble picking because we wanted to go everywhere, but there's some really good itineraries, and we're not going to miss on whichever one we pick. So stay tuned for that because it's going to be a blast. I'm excited about going out of LA and going down the Mexican Riviera.
The Mexican Riviera?
Yes.
The Pacific coast of Mexico.
So that's gonna be awesome. So we're doing that.
And thank you, Princess Cruises, for the free cruise. That's That is big time,
Yes.
and we are really looking forward to that. We've heard great things about Princess Never Gone, so it's the first time for us to go, and it's on one of their big, nice new ships. Came out in 2021. It's the Discovery Princess.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be awesome. Thank you, Princess Cruise Lines. I feel like this summer there's probably gonna be a little spur of the moment trips too, so stay tuned for those on our Instagram. If we wherever we find ourselves on the weekends, who knows?
You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. Norris Frog is on there at Norris Frog. You can find him on all of those places as well. Make sure you subscribe. Hit the subscribe button to our YouTube channel. If you're on YouTube and you want to listen to us in your car, you can go to anywhere you find your podcast, Apple, Google, Spotify, Amazon. You can listen to an audio-only version. Now, you get all the video, but if you want to listen while you're traveling in your car, this is our 6th episode of our podcast. So there's plenty of episodes to go back and recap. We've gone through St. Martin, St. Thomas, St. Croix, St. Lucia. We talked about San Juan. So all of those are on there. And again, these will go every week on Thursday. And if you are listening to us in the car or on your podcast, you can get video and all the stuff you hear us talking about. You can see it on our YouTube channel, and that is CruiseNReview on YouTube. And you can always go to CruiseNReview.com. Next week, we're talking about St. Kitts. Thank you so much for sticking with us. Sorry for the prolonged absence. Thank you for your thoughts and prayers. We needed them. We still do. But we're going to move forward in the spirit of fun, in the spirit of happiness, and because Norris Frog is a very tough boss.
Yes.
And he requires us to do the show once a week.
Yes. He's. I can't even tell you how hard he's been about getting this podcast back on. So
he's
Norris
the reason
Frog,
we're here.
This one's for you.
Yeah. Little buddy.
Somewhat.
I'm Blake.
And I'm Audrey.
That is Norris Frog, the executive producer. We'll be back next week talking about St. Kitts. Bye-bye for now.